Hey y'all, it's Cam again. So this will be the Jelaine Maxwell deposition after Virginia Giuffre sued her for defamation because basically Ghislaine was denying everything that happened. But we see where she's at anyway at this point. We know she lied. And I realized that I was been spelling her name without the I near the end of her name, just so you know. So it'll be misspelled in a lot of the videos, but I didn't mean to do that. But either way, let's go on. So we're on page 341. Again, this is video 14. I have to just break these up in a few pages because it's a lot. But anyway, so right here it says, did you pay that loan back? Because they were talking about a loan, I guess, that she had maybe gotten from Jeffrey Epstein for her home in England. It was like a town home. That's where that famous photo of Prince Andrew and Virginia were taken. Just FYI, just in case you need to know. That says, I don't have any outstanding loans with him, so you paid it back. I don't have any outstanding loans with him. That's not an answer to my question. Did you pay back Jeffrey for the loans? I pay back any loans I have with him. You have or haven't? Have. Were there any other gifts that Jeffrey gave you during the time period of, say, 1999 to the present that were in excess of $50,000? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. What's the question again? Did Jeffrey give you any gifts in excess of 50 or amounts of $50,000? I'm not talking about a scarf here or something insignificant from 1999 to the present. I can't recollect any gifts. Did he ever buy you a car? I really don't recall. I can't recall. It's a long time ago. You can't recall if Jeffrey Epstein ever bought you a car. I believe he did buy me a car. I don't recall how much it cost. I don't recall any of the financial details of that. Do you still have that car? I don't. How long ago did you get rid of the car? I don't recall all the cars. There was a car back. I don't recall. I'm sorry. He supplied you with several cars. Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form and the mischaracterization of the testimony. I don't recall details of the cars. Did he supply you with more than one car? Over the course of time, I've driven many cars that Jeffrey provided to you. They were cars that could be driven, and I just don't recall them. Were they in your name? I don't recall. You don't recall if Jeffrey Epstein ever put a car in your name. We're talking a long time ago. I really don't recall. When is the last time you had a car from Jeffrey Epstein that you used? 2000, 2001, 2002? Do you recall what kind of car that was? I don't recall. I'm sorry. Did Jeffrey Epstein purchase anything else for you besides the townhouse and cars that would be over the amount of $50,000? I didn't say that he did. I said I had a loan. Besides the loan, I'm sorry. You were right. You did say you had a loan and you said you paid that back, correct? That's my testimony. Anything else in excess of $50,000 that he would have purchased for you? We're talking 2002, 2001. I don't recall any gifts really. When is the last time Jeffrey Epstein gave you a gift in excess of $50,000? Mr. Pagliuca assumes facts, not in evidence, form of foundation. You're saying you don't remember from 2001 and 2002. I'm asking when is the last time you remember Jeffrey Epstein purchasing a gift for you? I don't recall gifts in excess of 50,000. I barely recall gifts. I barely recall a lot of this. I'm sorry, I don't recall. Is Jeffrey Epstein paying for your legal fees in this case? No. Is he paying for anything related to this case? No. Are you aware of any grand theft police report relating to Virginia Roberts? Sorry. I believe I read a report in the press on that. Did you provide the press with the report on a grand theft by Virginia Roberts? I don't know how the press got that story. Do you know if Virginia Roberts committed a grand theft? I only know what I read in the press. Did you ever state to the press that Virginia Roberts committed a grand theft? I've never had any conversation directly with press. Did any of your representatives ever inform the press that Virginia Roberts committed a grand theft? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I have no way of knowing what my representative said to press or don't, or didn't. Did they ever discuss with you the fact that they were going to report that Virginia Roberts participated in a grand theft? I don't know how, first of all. I don't know how I know that. I believe I read it in the press report. So I'm going to mark this as composite exhibit Maxwell 14, please. Maxwell exhibit 14, email marked for identification. I'm going to direct you to page GM 00109. At the top of that page, you're going to see an email address from Jeffrey Epstein on Sunday, June 12th, 2011 to redacted. Yes, the RE line says this is the actual version they wanted me to send, which I changed, but this is back from my UK lawyers. Do you see that? Yes. If you go down further, you're going to see halfway through the page, you will see your email address, the redacted, and you will see a statement that says, thank you. I have it now. I'm working on the letter a little. I will send final version tomorrow. Whatever is in it will be factually accurate. Beneath that, you will see redacted, who I believe you identified earlier as one of your attorneys. And you will see a letter starting the text of a letter starting. I want you to turn to the second page, which is GM 00110. About halfway through the page, it says you will also presumably draw attention to the fact that prior to filing her suit against Mr. Epstein, Miss Roberts fled the U.S. to avoid being arrested for grand theft. Police report available. What grand theft were you referring to there that Virginia Roberts committed? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I don't know. However, I believe she stole money from somewhere where she worked. How do you know that was grand theft? I don't know how I know that. So you authorize a statement to characterize that as grand theft without knowing whether it was grand theft? What month? What is the date of this? The date is this is June 12th, 2011. So I'm afraid such a long time ago, I'm not sure how. I really couldn't testify as to how that language ended up in here. Do you have the police report? It says police report available. Do you have that document? I don't have that document. Who does? I have no idea. Would your lawyer redacted have that document? I don't know who has this document. What's your basis in that statement for saying Miss Roberts fled the U.S.? Again, you're asking me for a statement that I made in 2011. I can't say what in 2011 exactly the basis of that statement was. So you don't know whether or not that statement is true. This is in 2011 and it never went out. So I'm not sure exactly. But you said in your email that you are working to make it factually accurate. Is that correct? That's what it says. I'm going to mark as Maxwell 15 a document dated February 24th, 2015. Maxwell Exhibit 15, email marked for identification. This is an email from Redacted who you've identified as your redacted on February 24th, 2015 to redacted, which I understand to be your email address and redacted. The subject line says VR cried rape. Prior case dismissed as prosecutors found her not credible. The message says, Ghislaine, some helpful leakage, ... What is it you were leaking to the press? Mr. Pagliuca, objection. There's no foundation. She leaked anything, and you know that. What was it that you were leaking to the press in that statement? Again, I don't think that's referring to that. That's just referring to the press getting a hold of whatever story it is. What was redacted, leaking to the press? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. It doesn't say redacted was leaking anything. It doesn't say that. This statement says helpful leakage. Is that correct? It says helpful leakage. That doesn't mean he leaked anything. Did you leak to the press information about the subject line VR cried raped, prior case dismissed as prosecutions found her not credible? I don't know. No idea what redacted is referring to. I think he's referring to the press held the story. I couldn't testify to that. Did you leak to the press information regarding the statement of VR cried rape? Prior case dismissed as prosecutors found her not credible, either through you or through redacted. I think this is coming from the Daily Mail. That's not my question. I'm asking whether you or redacted leaked that. I have no knowledge. I have no idea. I'm sorry. I can't. I have no recollection. I have no idea what she's talking about. I'm going to mark this as 16, Maxwell Exhibit 16, email marked for identification. This is an email addressed at the top from Jeffrey Epstein on Monday, January 12th, 2015 to redacted, which I understand to be your email address. The email reads, you can issue a reward to any of Virginia's friends, acquaintances, family that come forward to help prove her allegations are false. The strongest is the redacted dinner and the new version of the Virgin Islands that redacted practice in an underage orgy. Did you offer any rewards to Virginia's family or friends to contradict Virginia's story? Absolutely not. Did Jeffrey Epstein offer any rewards to any of Virginia's, as he suggests here, friends, family, or acquaintance to contradict Virginia's story? Mr. Pagliuca objects to the former foundation. I have no idea what he did. Did he tell he was going to offer rewards to Virginia's acquaintances, friends, and family to prove her allegations were false? He did not. Do you know whether Jeffrey Epstein paid Redacted to give testimony about Virginia Roberts? I don't know who Redacted is. So you don't know whether Jeffrey Epstein paid her? I don't know who Redacted is. Have you ever contacted any of Virginia's friends, acquaintances, or family regarding this case? I don't know who Virginia's friends or family are, and I've not contacted anybody related to her in any way, shape, or form. I'll return you, I believe it's the thicker document, which is Maxwell. I believe it was 14 right there, the compilation document to GM at the bottom, GM 00071. You actually may want to turn to the prior page 70 so you can see the email chain. At the top of the page, Mr. Pagliuca, I don't have a 00071 on mine. Ms. McCauley is the second page in that document. Mr. Pagliuca, okay. It's dated Friday, March 11, 2011, from Maxwell to Jeffrey with the title Daily Mail, and there's a forward from Redacted to you and a number of other individuals that's on the cover page. And as you scroll to the second page, you're going to see that part of the chain that I'm asking about, and that is the chain at the bottom, which is dated 3/10/2011 from Redacted. And it says we should think about the letter to the editor. School can be university. Age of consent in Florida is complex. See below, if you're 16 years old, a sexual relationship with someone between 18 and 24 is legal in Florida. Two persons between 16 and 24, Florida Statute 794.05, a person 24 years or older, of age or older, who engages in sexual activity with a person 16 or 17 years of age commits a felony in the second degree. So as soon as you turn 16, you're able to have sexual relations, and you can have sexual relations with the minor under the age of 18 until your 24th birthday. Why were you concerned with the age of consent in Florida? That's pretty damning, I would say. Just saying, they're looking up Florida statutes. All right, Mr. Pagliuca objects to the former foundation of the question. I wasn't concerned. I think this was somebody sending me the statute for informational purposes. Who's Redacted? He's the person who redacted boss, I believe. I don't know what the relationship is. I didn't hear you. I redacted. I'm not sure exactly. Why would he be sending you information addressing concerns about the age of consent in Florida? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the former foundation. I think he was just trying to be telling me details that would happen. Virginia in 11 was claiming she was 15 and we thought she was 17. I didn't know what the statutes were in Florida, and I think he was just trying to be helpful so I would know. Did you have a concern that you had violated this statute in Florida? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation? No. Did you have a concern that Jeffrey Epstein had violated this statute in Florida? I'm not concerned what happened with Jeffrey. I'm only concerned what happens with me. Why did you communicate what's redacted about the sexual consent age in Florida? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. It misstates her testimony. I wasn't concerned. I think he was being helpful and stated what the statute was. I'm going to turn you now in that same stack, the Bates number GM00088. At the top of the email, you're going to see Jeffrey Epstein, dated June 8th, 2011 to you, and it's got an RE line, Vanity Fair. If you go down the chain, you will see where it says under your email, do you have a problem with anything I said? Were you communicating with Jeffrey to confirm what statements you could put in any press release you were given? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form and foundation. Any interest I have is in accuracy. Were you confirming with Jeffrey Epstein what information you could put in press releases? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form and foundation. Again, I'm only looking for accuracy. Why would you ask him if he had a problem with anything you were saying? If there is anything I characterized it was not correct. That's not what you said. You said, do you have a problem with anything I said? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. There's no question pending. Ms. McCauley, there is. Mr. Pagliuca, that's not a question. It's a statement. Ms. McCauley, don't interrupt me. Question, did you say, do you have a problem with anything I said? That was asking in my parlance that I wanted him to check it for accuracy. Did he tell you there was anything inaccurate about the statements? Again, I have to read the whole thing to figure that out. Were you coordinating with Jeffrey Epstein during this time in 2011 regarding statements that you were issuing to the press? Mr. Pagliuca, did you withdraw the last question? Ms. McCauley, I'm not withdrawing anything. I'm asking a question. Mr. Pagliuca, there was a question pending. You didn't let the witness answer the question. Then you moved on to another question. So I'm asking for clarification for the record now. Which question are we answering? Ms. McCauley, there is an answer. The question was, did he tell you anything? There was anything in the statement inaccurate about the statement? And she said, again, I read the whole thing. The witness, I would have to. Ms. McCauley, I would have to read the whole thing to figure that out. Mr. Pagliuca, then she started reading it and you asked another question. Ms. McCauley, that's the question. Mr. Pagliuca, I'm wondering if it's still pending. Ms. McCauley, it was answered. Were you coordinating with Jeffrey Epstein during the time period in 2011 regarding the statements you were issuing to the press? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I only wanted to be accurate in any factual statements that I made. You knew at that time that Jeffrey Epstein had been convicted for sexual abuse of a minor. Is that correct? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. He was sentenced, I believe, for underage soliciting an underage prostitute. You knew that he was a registered sex offender? Yes. You were coordinating with him in the statement that you were going to be making to the press to confirm whether they were accurate in your words? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. Answer, I was not coordinating with Jeffrey. He had details that I did not have. I was not party to his case. I needed to have information in order to be able to respond, so I was not coordinating with him. I was merely asking for details that I could have. Did Jeffrey write any of your press statements for you? No, he didn't draft any of them. I have a lawyer who was working on this, and I asked, I believe, as I recollect, asked him for information to make sure I was being accurate in the representations for whatever I was discussing. Did Jeffrey provide you with any drafts of statements to provide to the press? I only recall drafts from my lawyer. I will mark this as Maxwell 17. Maxwell Exhibit 17, email marked for identification. This is an email from you on January 10th, 2005 to redacted. The statement you had before you earlier, that if you can pull that in front of you, the one-page press release that you gave, you might know from memory. Was the press release that you issued with the statement about Virginia issued in or around January 2nd, 2015? As best as I can recollect. I want to turn your attention to the document I just handed you, which is Bates number 001044 from you to redacted. It says in the first sentence, I'm out of my depth to understand defamation, other legal hazards, and I don't want to end up in a lawsuit aimed at me from anyone if I can help it. Apparently, even saying Virginia is a liar has hazards. You knew at the time you called Virginia a liar in early January of 2015 that was something that would result in a lawsuit. Is that correct? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I have legal advice that I took. But you knew in early January by making a statement or calling Virginia a liar that you were subjecting yourself to a legal dispute with her. Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I took legal advice as to what should be said and not be said, and the legal advice was that came from the United Kingdom was, Mr. Pagliuca, you're not allowed to talk about any legal advice that you got from anybody that's a lawyer. Sorry. So is it correct, without telling me what you talked to your lawyers about, that you knew, because this is dated January 10th, that when you made this statement in early January 2nd of 2015, you knew that calling Virginia a liar would subject you to legal action? Is that correct? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. As to what you knew, whatever she knows would be privileged. Ms. McCauley, I'm asking if she knows. I'm not asking her to tell me about her privileged conversations or communications. All I can say is I asked a question and received legal advice. Maxwell, Exhibit 18, email marked for identification. This is an email dated January 15th, 2015 from Jeffrey Epstein to you. It states in the first line, do you want redacted to come out and say she was the girlfriend during the time? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form and foundation of the question, and actually the word is redacted. There is no vowel in there. Ms. McCauley, I was just trying to pronounce it. So I'm going to stop here. So the dog needs to go out. But anyway, I will get some more of these recorded. We'll get as much as we can get done today. But anyway, talk to y'all later. Bye.